Oh,
Guys, hey
We
guys.
made it.
Guys, we're on.
We're on.
Here we go.
We're locked
let's
on.
go.
We're locked and loaded, and we're here. All three of us watched a basketball game tonight, and we're here to talk
did.
about it. And
We analyzed it.
Oh, boy.
and we're here to
Start to
talk about it.
finish.
Sherrod's at a dance party, and we're gonna be fine there. I made meatloaf. I made shepherd's pie tonight.
Ma!
Yeah.
The
Shepherd's
meatloaf!
pie. Well done,
You made
John.
shepherd's pie?
Hello Fresh shepherd's pie.
Oh.
Not just
Okay.
any shepherd's pie.
Okay.
Hello, Fresh shepherd's pie.
Give me that shepherd's pie. Little potatoes, little corn, little ground beef.
Here we
That's
go.
what we're doing.
Here we
That's
go.
what we're doing.
Oh,
Let me
man.
some shepherd's pie.
That's how we start it, right?
Hello, fresh.
Anyway, that's what I had. I had some HelloFresh tonight. I made a shepherd's pie for the
Good for
whole
you.
fam. It's got to be the easiest thing for kids to get down with. It's just like,
Roll around, hide under
yeah,
the
just
plate.
a mashup.
You know, the good thing about shepherd's pie is you don't even need utensils. Everything sticks to the potatoes. You just kind of claw it, and you're good. It's
Yeah.
very, you can save on the dishwasher. You really can just take your fist and just sort of. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So, the Celtics
HelloFresh.
won.
Thank you.
You
Celtics
might have
win.
been you might have been misled by what you saw at the bottom of the screen, but I guarantee you we know the score. And
Damn
the
it.
score was, yeah, I know,
116
It happens.
to 107.
116 to 107. They hung on there. This was
I
like
knew that.
this was a 10-point game all night, basically. You know,
No, it was a 5-point game.
Well,
I got
listen,
down to 4. Yeah, I know.
yeah,
I'm saying
actually, they went into the fourth up by 3.
Yeah, so
That's
John,
right, when they hit that
you're an
three.
idiot.
That's when Garland hit the 3, yeah.
90
Anything else,
87.
John?
Dummy. Did you even watch?
Yeah. Wait a second. Who didn't watch the game here?
You're right. 90 to 87 there heading into the third. But it just felt like it was like an arm's length game. They were going to keep them there, for most of the game. And they did, but it was always like, no, Jimmy, no, can't do
All right,
that.
okay,
Can't
okay.
crinkle like that.
I didn't think you could
Still-
hear it.
Spill them out on the table and eat them that way.
I didn't
It's
think
like
you could hear it over Saturday Night Fever over there.
It's like my kid when we're watching a movie. She's just crinkle into the bag. I'm like, just put it in a freaking bowl. Just put it in a bowl.
That
Um,
bothers me at movies when I go to movies. If I see somebody with their hand, they got the candy and it's just like crinkle, crinkle. Come on, man. Put it in a cup.
No, it's brutal. Celtics win. I'm not going to say ho-hum, but it was like, I don't know, didn't feel like – I feel like at any point in time, if they just got a few stops, they could have put this game away. They weren't, I don't think it was an A+++ defensive night tonight by any means until they got a little serious in the fourth quarter there. Tatum takes over in the fourth when they needed it. Jalen was excellent early and mostly throughout the night. All 5 starters in double figures. Again, you're just not going to lose a lot of games when you've got everybody playing and kind of clicking there. And that's what happened tonight. But I mean, we could say nice things about everybody, including our guy Lamar Stevens.
Shout out,
Strange.
Lamar.
Did Luke Kornet suffer an in-game injury on the bench? Because I got a notification from Celtics PR mid-game that he was out for the game, but he didn't play in the game.
Yeah, he did not play in the game. No, that's correct.
But the alert that he was out came out in game.
Yeah, I don't know whether it happened, whether it was early this morning or it happened during shoot around prior to the game. I just know that Luke was not available to play. Lamar was able to play.
Could it be a just sickness thing, maybe?
I don't care.
Yeah.
I just don't care about Jimmy. I just don't care.
Right. No, we only care that Lamar played.
That's
That's what it took. Maybe Luke just said, you know what? I want my guy Lamar to finally get in the damn
Joe
game.
didn't knew it.
I'm
Joe
gonna
Joe
fake
didn't
an
know
injury.
why, and that's why he played Lamar. He's like, all right, I'll give Lamar Kornet's minutes, and that's what happened tonight.
Good.
And I
Against his former team.
Yeah.
That was nice.
The first couple of minutes, Lamar was a little rocky for Lamar, but then considering the fact that the guy has basically been on the shelf all season, damn near, much better in the second half, give good energy, made some plays defensively, showed why he was a guy that played a lot of minutes. I mean, it's clear that he's a hustle energy defensive guy. 3-point shot, don't take that, Lamar. Don't do it. Don't do it. He took 1-3 from the corner.
He was
and
excited.
It was kind of painful. It was kind of painful to watch.
So what is it about?
He doesn't know when he's going to get another attempt.
Yeah. What is it about Celtics bench players that when they come in, they'll do everything they can possibly do: rebound, hustle, play defense, get an insane amount of fouls called against them that aren't necessarily fouls, assists, potential assists. I'm going to log at least 2 for Lamar tonight. But
early.
they just forget how to shoot completely. Like he got the ball and he's like, "Oh God, I got to shoot it," and he missed the rim by 1.5 feet.
I mean, that's the corner 3, and I'm just looking at it. And you can tell about halfway in flight that this thing, it's like that balloon that wasn't quite fully inflated. It's about to just deflate real quick. But again, he made a lot of hustle plays, did a lot of good things, had a nice dunk that put him up with double digits, I think, in the second half. It was for a guy that, again, end of the bench guy who never plays. I thought he did a lot of good things. But he by no means was he like the difference in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, and John, to your point earlier, it's hard. This was one of the harder games to really point to. This guy was really good tonight because they all were. All the guys that played significant minutes made a significant contribution. Yep. And at some point in the game, they were the guy for the Celtics. And I think that's the scary part about the Celtics as a team. That on any given moment, you've got to worry about Tatum. You got to worry about Brown. You got Porzingis, Drew Holiday's making shots. Derek White, Sam Hauser seemingly can't miss when he comes off the bench. Lamar Stevens finally they dust him off at the end of the bench, and he does some good things. The Celtics they're looking. The more you watch them play, it's like, damn, how could this team not get to the finals? How are they not going to get to the finals?
Yeah, when they're fully healthy, it feels like they are. We kind of said something similar last game. It kind of felt like an all hands on deck sort of performance.
Is this song on a loop? This is like the 14-minute version?
They're doing a thing, and I can't move my computer around, but they're doing a thing where people are coming on the court, taking shots. So that's the reason why it's on a loop.
Is Bobby out there?
Oh, gosh. I think he might be in the locker room consoling Luke.
Yeah, he's getting his full story.
Exactly.
Anyways, to piggyback off what Sherrod said, loved what I saw from Holiday tonight. It seems like I'm going to say that he was dealing with some sort of lingering pain from the ankle. Okay. Little Imagine Dragons here.
Imagine Dragons, why not?
Imagine Dragons, exactly.
Imagine Drew. Imagine a healthy Drew right now, which is what I'm seeing out there in the corner.
Well done, Jimmy. Okay.
Yeah. Imagine Drugans.
He was good.
It's pronounced Dragons with a Dragons with a
Dragons, yeah, J-R-A-G.
John, that was not covered in homeschool, John. That was not covered in homeschool, clearly.
Dragons.
No. But it does feel like he's a little bit more himself out there than he was a couple weeks ago. It kind of felt like he was off, right? I mean, we all were kind of like, ooh, what's going on, at least on the offensive side.
Yeah.
So good to see him back. And I thought Jalen tonight was good, too. A few really nice turnaround, like fadeaway, those little fadeaway turnarounds.
Jalen?
Like 15-footers, yeah. When those are dropping, man, that's it. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that shot if that's falling.
I love those in the post.
Yeah.
I like them from Tatum, too.
Tatum had some nice ones tonight. More than Tatum usually has.
I love those. I hate the step back, top of the key, crossover, set them up, lull them to sleep. So I hate that. I love the turnarounds when they're working guys in the post because the separation Brown gets off those. But
Love that.
Yeah, I love you, Stephanie. The separation Brown gets off of that turnaround it's like a layup for him. So that's great.
Yeah. That's his
that was
bread
good.
and butter shot right there. When that's
I
falling,
like
you
that.
know that he's feeling it.
Shot profile has been good there. People are still complaining about Tatum. I'll tell you this.
They are.
The Jason Tatum gave an interview after the game that was one of my favorite interviews I've heard him give. And they were talking about, Abby asked him a couple questions, and one of them was just kind of like, how good are you guys? He's like, yeah, we're not even close. He's like, and we're going to be better when we all learn to do when we do less more, basically. Like the less we all do
Less
individually, the better we'll get. And like, it's like light bulb. And he kind of said something about that in the last post game, and you kind of see it throughout. It's like ding, 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 ding. And like, that kind of also sets you off thinking, and then she asked like, well, how do you decide like when to, cook, and when not to?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm young, but I played a lot of basketball. And he's like, you just got to feel it. See who's hot, feed the hot hand, pick your spots. And I'm like, yes, right. Exactly. Like, and like, it's not like he hasn't been getting it. He has been getting it, but it kind of, it's a different, like there are times where you'd be like, wow, Tatum disappeared. Where was he? And it seemed like lack of engagement, or, he got frustrated, or he just tried to shoot his way out of, slumps and try to do it all himself. But here he's like, okay, here we come, fourth quarter. Let's just take over the game, because I think that's what we need at this point. It's a little closer than I want. And he does it. But I love that idea and that mentality, because that's the buy-in you need from everybody on this team. And I'm not saying they don't have it. Is everyone's got to do a little bit less, because you have so many people who can do so much. It's not you're not reliant on one guy. So I loved hearing that, and that kind of like, I think, encapsulates a little bit of his vibe, a little bit of his game tonight.
It has to be a muscle memory thing, so you have to do it over and over and over again, because for these guys, when we're talking about doing less, it just doesn't come naturally to them, because they're so used to putting teams on their back all the way from bitty basketball to high school to college, and obviously in the NBA. And now when you look around, I mean, think about this: the Celtics, their starting five has 4 All-Stars. Have 4 guys who've been have been one of the top 10, top 12 players at least one season prior to this. And that means that they've been the man. But you can't be the man. You've got to be the men if you're going to win a championship. Because a man doesn't win a title. Men do in the NBA.
Yeah.
And they're starting to figure that out. They're starting to figure that out.
Jimmy, can you answer this question for us?
Yo, Zannis, you going to talk about JB's 5 assists, or are you just going to ignore it? He's going to.
We're not, because what did we what did we learn last game?
That it doesn't matter.
Assists don't matter.
Yeah. The assists don't matter.
It's all about
this whole chat.
Yeah.
So
yeah, who cares? Who cares?
That's not us. That's Coach Mazzulla. That's the coach.
And the chat. They don't matter. They don't matter.
The chat. Yeah. Oh, now they matter.
Now
they matter. Okay, now
there we go.
We're only talking about potential assists, folks.
But Jalen had a good game, though.
You can't say he had 0 and have that matter, but you can say he had 5 and that mattered.
Right.
Okay, so we get it. That doesn't matter. We're not. Nobody's digging on Jalen. Jalen was great. Jalen had a stretch in the first quarter where he made the right decision every single time he had the ball. Every single time he had the ball. It was perfect. Perfect basketball.
And I would say
perfect basketball.
Further, say, I mean, even when he had turnovers, they were the right basketball play. Like, he threw this pass to Porzingis, who was cutting to the basket, just went to Porzingis.
Just too fast.
It was the right play. It just didn't finish it off. And that's the stuff that when you talk about Jaylen Brown and you look at his evolution and growth, you want to see those type of mistakes, because those aren't mental mistakes. Those are just stuff just doesn't work out. And it happens in the course of an NBA game.
But it's not. It's same thing with Tatum too. It's the trying to do too much stuff. That's usually where they get it. The more they dribble, the more they turn it over. That's all it is. So it's just playing fast, making quick reads, making the right decision, moving the ball, getting it out of your hands, and just knowing that you can get it back as well. So Yeah, that's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's all the ISO over dribbling stuff where you always run into problems because defenders are waiting. The double's waiting to slide over. You spin into traffic. All of a sudden, there's extra bodies there, and those are the ones that get away. He hasn't had those. He's cut them. He's cut those down a lot this. He's cut those way down this year.
Yeah, you just have to.
Those two guys only had 5 turnovers between the two of them, Tatum and Brown, which is great. They can give you only 5 turnovers.
You just
Jacoby Myers just threw a TD pass.
Are you kidding?
No.
That's great.
49-0?
Is it?
Holy crap.
Wow. That's Oakland against San Diego?
How in the
LA?
world? Yeah. How in the world does Staley make it to Staley doesn't make it to the weekend after this?
He might not make it to the
I know.
quarter.
They got Easton's stick.
Yeah. They have it's a literal hockey stick out there throwing passes apparently.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that much worse if it was, apparently. Just real quick on what Sherrod said. You just got to watch the freaking games and that's going to paint the picture of is Jaylen Brown making the right decisions out there? Is he making the right passes, or is he right to take the shot instead? You can't just look at the stats and look at the box score and say, oh, he had this many assists and this many potential assists and, this many turnovers. You got to watch and see, was it the right pass? Was it a good pass? Was it the right moment? Was he better off taking the shot instead of the pass? So that's why I don't really focus too much on the statistics. You just got to watch the game. And I thought tonight he made a lot of the right decisions. You don't want to see a night where he has a lot of turnovers where he should have passed it, dribbling too much, dribbling into 2 guys, turning it over, and then trying to force it out and then, throwing it away into a guy with maybe 2 guys on him. So you're seeing a lot less of that, which tells me, again, similar to what Jason Tatum said at postgame, do less. That doesn't mean contribute less. It just means do less, force it less, play your position, do what makes you good. And for Jaylen Brown, and I've been saying it, and you guys have been saying it too, I'm sure, just score the ball. Don't try to, I know it's hard to ignore the social media and the critics and everyone saying, oh, he has 0 assists and blah, 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 this many games. Who cares? That's not why they gave you $300 million. It wasn't so that you could average 8 assists a game. It was so you can freaking score the ball. And I think that when he's on, he can be one of the best scorers in the NBA. Now, there's a lot of talent around him, so he's not going to average 35 a game. He doesn't need to. But if he was on a bad team, could he get 30 points a game? Probably. The guy can score from all over the court, whether it's 3-pointers, whether it's these getaways that we're seeing now. And we all know that when he gets going, he's really hard to stop. He's dunked on half the league. So that's what you need to do. Now, just don't force things and create turnovers while you're doing it.
Yeah. It's fine. Like I said, it's just not a story.
It's fine. You just faxed my dog me.
No, it's fun. But I'm just saying the whole thing about it. It wasn't a story before. It wasn't. What I will say is, since ESPN put that graphic up, Jalen's played a couple of his better basketball games. So
he thrives off. He
loves people telling him
and proving people wrong, and that's what gets him going. So if that's and you know what, good, because he got that fat paycheck, and it's probably a little bit harder for him to thrive off the doubters and all that stuff when you're making that money. But he's proven that he still can. You got to find ways to get yourself going. If that's what works for him, that's what works for him.
To put a pin in the Jaylen passing playmaker thing, you're right. You need him mainly to score. The only time it comes into play, or it ever comes into play, is sometimes with that bench unit where you actually need him to be more, and that's where you want to see his playmaking get better and being able to carry, carry those units out there without just being the only guy on the floor who can get a bucket. That's really the only place. But again, when the 6 guys are playing, if you're going to call it the 6 starters, you're always out there with one of the bigs and another guard. So you can still be you. And I think that's what I like best about this team too. When all 6 are playing, it's pretty much always going to be either the 5 of them or 4 of them on the floor at one time, or when you're going into your bench rotations late first, early second, and then again late third, early fourth, it's going to be 3 of the 6 with 2 bench guys. And I think that's just, you just have a lot of people out there who can do a lot. I thought Al was awesome tonight again off the bench too. Hauser, man, I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, I don't know what else you
Uh-huh.
want this guy to be, but like his minutes are concrete. Absolutely got to have him. We're way past the point where you're talking about Hauser playing himself off the court for one reason or another. It doesn't exist. Like he's just a guy who has to get his minutes, and you're actually usually pretty happy when he's out there.
Yeah, I mean he's figured out clearly how to just keep your butt on the floor, and that's do your job. And his job, I think we all thought that his job was just simply to make buckets. But you know what? If you watch him play, his job is to make buckets and stay between yourself, or stay between the guy with the ball and the rim. And he does that as good as anyone on this team. Now, Darius Garland is a different type of player. Darius is blowing by everyone. So when Hauser was getting beat by him, that was no big deal because Drew Holiday was getting some of that heat. Derek White was getting some of that as well.
Yeah.
Right. That's what he does. But Sam consistently has shown that when he's on the floor, his ability to be solid defensively. He's not spectacular. He's not locking anyone up. He's not picking pockets or anything like that. He's just being really solid defensively. And on offense, he's knocking out open shots. And now it's to the point where they're actually calling a set or two for him. I mean, they came out of a timeout, and it was pretty clear that they were looking to get him a shot in the corner, and he drained it. Those are the little things that show his growth with this team, and maybe more important, the trust that they have in him now that I'm not sure it was always there.
John, do we have a clip that we can put up? That Amit said he had a clip on the bench.
Maybe.
Good quote
something
from
about
Joe. Yeah. Who he
Okay.
sees as the bench.
Is this Ahmed? Is this in reference to the like why Lamar played or who plays off the bench?
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out right now.
Mazzulla on the bench, and it's an exchange with Gary.
Together.
These are always entertaining. I think you can hear Josue nodding in the background when Joe asks a rhetorical question.
Joe, you said before you were still trying to figure out your bench a couple weeks ago. How's that process going? Like, how
long ago did I say that?
It was like 2 weeks, maybe. Yeah, like, it wasn't that long ago. Like a month. Anyway, let's go off to a good start here. I'm trying here, Joe. What's the process like? How far are you into that process? And when you have guys like Fee and Lamar and O'Shea, are you sitting them down and just saying, hey, your turn's going to come, or just stay ready? Like, how does that conversations go when Lamar gets kind of thrown in after a couple of DNPs?
Yeah, so it's Peyton, Sam, Luke, and Al. I'd say, like, when we're 100% healthy, like, that's our nine. They've developed a tremendous identity from the first week of the season where everybody thought they weren't good. They've turned into, like, that's our team, and so they've done a great job. And then the unit behind that, you have to have a lot of conversations with them, because I do think there are games, and I learned this last year, where whether it's back-to-backs and whether there's injuries where, like, they have to play, and, like, we need you to keep the train moving and do everything that you're supposed to do and win. And so that's part of the conversation that I have with them is, you can't underestimate your role, because when it's time to play, you have to execute. And we had those conversations at the beginning of the season. And the way those guys work every day, they're ready for that. And so I had no issue going with Lamar because of what I see him do every day. And the same things for Banton, O'Shea, for Nemi. Make sure I don't forget anybody, for Svi. So I see them do it every single day.
There we go.
Well.
What do you think about that, Sherrod?
Damn, I guess my guy Lamar is going to have to get these kind of in case of emergency minutes. That's kind of where he's at.
What did Tatum call him? The stay ready crew, or
yeah, yeah, I think he did. But hey, Luke's in the rotation officially.
Wow.
Luke is one of the. Bobby must have had tears streaming down his face during that.
Has anyone heard from Bobby? I think he's on the floor.
Luke's part of the nine. He's part of the nine.
We did it, Luke. We did it.
Living squares for everyone. Hey, woo!
He made it.
Yeah.
Well,
Luke better make sure he's not too hurt, because he's going to get Wally pipped by Lamar if he is.
Yeah.
Won't happen. No.
Nah. Luke's been playing well, I think, overall when he's getting his minutes in there.
Yeah, I mean, but
For
the
the
key
most part,
though,
he's the ninth guy.
right? But the key, Jimmy and John, is his impact isn't significant if everyone is healthy. He's
Right.
just and again, when everyone's healthy, he's great. I mean, he does exactly what you need him to do. But when you're missing a Porzingis or you're missing an Al, and then he moves up a spot in the pecking order, that's when it gets a little messy.
Yeah.
That's when it gets a little like, oh boy, I don't know about this.
He's fringe guy. He's fringe guy. You don't want the fringe guy to be the life of the party all of a sudden, or else it's going to go down. People are going to start leaving. So yeah, you want to make sure you got a full house in there and everyone plays their position and you chime in here and there with a one-liner, but other than that, like just take it easy. That's
Yeah.
kind of Luke's role on this team. Picture the party.
And right. And I would say, other than Lamar, I think the rest of those guys have had opportunities to supplant Luke or someone else who's in that core group that Joe talked about, and they just haven't been able to do it. Banton, Gata, they've shown flashes, but none of them have made you sense like, damn, he's way better than Luke, or he should be playing ahead of Peyton, or he's better than Sam, and that's just not happening. And so
Right.
Joe, again, the one thing, and I go back to that game where the Toronto Raptors got bent out of shape because Joe had that late challenge, and how part of that involved Joe showing those end of the bench guys his trust in them. That even if we got this thing wrapped up, I'm still going to. If you said that was a BS call, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to challenge it. Little things like that, I think, again, strengthen the trust that Joe has in these guys, and clearly the guys that he mentioned are the guys that he trusts.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do it like this. I understand the 8. I think those are immovable at this point. And again, you can quibble over, is Pritchard giving you enough out of that position? Maybe not, but it's still fine. Like, it's fine.
Again, when they're all healthy, yeah, you can get by with that.
It's
Right.
fine. But the 9th, if there's 9 in there, did I get a 9er in there? If there's 9 in there, I feel like that should be situationally dependent and not just automatically Luke.
Absolutely. But I think for them, for Joe, I think more times than not, that situation requires them to have another big. And Luke, right now, if you start going down their big rotation, Luke is the one that he trusts the most. I mean, it's not even close, to be honest. And I understand on some levels why that is, but I just, again, they have to stay healthy, because the minute they are down a big and they're in a playoff series and Luke all of a sudden moves up to your backup, oh boy, this could get real messy real quick.
Yeah.
But still, like, that's the best you have right now, Sherrod. I mean, I mean, John, I know you think that spot should be up for grabs, but in reality, it really hasn't been. I mean, they tried their luck with Brissett, didn't really do a whole lot. They've used Banton, didn't really do a whole lot. These guys have been in and out, but I think Kornet probably has just certainly more trust, but just a little bit more value out there on the court. I think when he is out there, again, he's got the height. So put him in the paint. He's good for an offensive rebound and a putback here and there, right? He's smart with it. He can pass. And he's got more experience with these guys for a little bit longer than some of these other guys on the bench do. So
no, it's fine. I just don't
it is
get
what it is. I mean,
it's fine. Again, and this is a great comment from Pat's fan. What are you doing, man? But anyway, biggest concern of the Celtics right now is Luke's role in the rotation. Yeah, totally. These are
tonight it is.
These are first world basketball problems.
These are champagne problems, right?
Yeah, we got to fill an hour, guys. So we got to talk about something here.
Yeah, or we go back to the dance party. One of the two things has to happen. But the one good time,
shepherd's pie.
But honestly, it's funny how it's kind of played out, right? It's almost like how you have like Shark Week, like you had Brissett Week, and you've had
Yeah.
Nemish week, Kata, and then you've had you
I think
had
Kata
Banton,
needs another chance.
Banton week. I feel like we're in Stevens week. I'd like to see a Svi week
Really?
one time. Yeah, because I like shooting.
I tell you what, though, I've been thinking about just why aren't they more confident in him? And two words for you: Sam Hauser. Sam is the reason why we're not seeing Svi play.
Yeah.
Because the idea of them playing together, I just don't think works because neither one of them is a ball handler. Neither one of them is attacking anyone off the dribble. And so the idea of them playing together, I just don't think works. And Sam is in such a great flow, great rhythm, has the trust of his teammates. But damn, every time I see, he doesn't miss. He doesn't miss. But he can't play because of Sam. Svi is a damn good shooter.
Is he? Well, here's the thing. So tomorrow, Al's not going to play, right? Back to back. So most likely he's not playing. So you've got to fill some minutes there. Now, I don't know what the deal is with Kornet. The score app says left adductor tightness. So how serious could that be? I mean, is he going to be able to play tomorrow? I don't know. But if not, you're going to see some guys tomorrow that you did not see tonight for certain. So it'll be interesting to see who he goes to because
I think a little Lamar again.
Situation. Yeah, maybe it would. I guess that would make sense. This is a good game to keep an eye on that because, okay, where we know 1 through 9, but after that, it's kind of just like throw a dart at somebody and see, what sticks. I don't think that's the saying, but tomorrow will be interesting from that aspect to see like, okay, who's next in Joe's, hierarchy or circle of trust, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's going to be Svi. I hate to tell you, John, but
no, I wish it would be. See, here's the
don't
Jimmy,
think
what,
tomorrow's
Jimmy?
the night for that.
Jimmy, I tell you what though, if they come out offensively in the first half and they're just for whatever reason just not making shots and things like that, I would not be surprised if Joe threw him out there for like 2-3 minutes.
Here's the thing: it's really what do you want? And I see stuff like this, and I mean I get it. Like, yeah, Svi is bad on D, and Banton is bad on O. And Brissett is bad. Like, what do you want out there? Do you want your bench guys to come in there and play competitive defense and not let the other team go on runs? Then I understand why some of the people who are playing. If you want offense, you do something different. If these guys could do both, they would be starting somewhere and making a lot more money. They're the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th guys on the team.
There's a reason why they're in those spots.
That's a reason they're there. It's because you don't have to tell me or anyone what they can't do. It's a lot. And even the stuff they can do, they're not great at. So it's just kind of picking which of these guys do you think you can develop into something that's going to be useful for you versus not. That's all. It's ultimately like I was kidding about like the 1 week at a time thing. I actually think that's a really difficult way. How the hell is Lamar Stevens going to do anything within flow playing in a real game with Tatum and Brown out there and these guys at the game moving a zillion miles an hour when he hasn't played a freaking minute all year? It's asking a lot of a guy. By the time they realize they're in a fight, they've been punched in the face 14 times. It's just, and honestly, he held up okay.
Yeah,
and I thought he played good defense, and I thought 2 of those 3 fouls were bullshit. But they can't keep up. Well, he had 1 catch in the lane. Luckily, he got fouled and he got the N1. He wasn't ready for that ball or ready for this, what was going to happen there in transition. He was running like hell, but like he couldn't do anything in that moment. And then obviously the 3 in the corner. It's a tough spot for those guys.
It is. And when he got in the game, and I'm watching him because I haven't seen him play all year, and I see him in the middle of the lane, and he's just like, "Who do I guard? Who do I guard?" And that was a defensive.
And then he's playing zone.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh gosh, it can only get better, and it did. But that's what happens, John, when you don't play for weeks on end, and then your coach says
hard.
You're in there. Yeah, it's totally hard. Especially with it, and the thing about it, you're playing on a team that has one goal in mind, and it's not to get better, it's to win a championship. Yes, they want to get better along the journey, but ultimately, everything they do is about winning a championship. And there's a different kind of pressure and focus you got to have when you're playing with those type of guys. And it took Lamar a minute to kind of lock in and figure out what the hell he had to do. Bobby, whoa, okay, Bobby.
What's up, Bobby? Bobby Cousins. Looks like
Bobby.
Just ghosted us. Bye, Bobby.
Yep. Not cool, dude.
Yeah, not cool at all, man.
Not
No.
cool at all.
Not
Well,
cool.
while Bobby gets himself right, we'll tell you guys quickly about our sponsor, FanDuel.
You're gonna throw a sponsor at us right now as Bobby jumps on? That's so
Yep.
disrespectful.
I am. Well,
Go ahead, John.
I was filibustering.
Run the offense, John. Run the offense.
Disrespect.
I know. Anyway, check it out. FanDuel, you want to get in on the action? Go to fanduel.com/Boston, America's #1 sportsbook, official wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network, and the official partner of the NFL. And obviously, if you are interested in this kind of thing, you're looking at all the NFL action. Game tonight. Who had the Raiders winning by 49 tonight?
Not
Anyone?
me.
That would have
Not
been
I.
$50 right there.
Oh my God!
Who started O'Connell in fantasy football? That's what I want to know.
No, I'm in a 2 QB league where I lost one of my QBs, and I've been streaming, and I had O'Connell for a minute, and I couldn't wait to drop him after last game. I anger cut him at 4 a.m. on Tuesday.
Yeah.
The second I could, I cut him.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
How does it work? I want to do it.
No, you can't. I'm going to finish this read.
Fine, I'll ask
150 in bonus bets when you place a winning $5 money line bet. Once again, fanduel.com/Boston. Go there to take advantage of that special offer. Let's ask Bobby a question first.
What's going on?
Jimmy,
that's fair.
what were you going to say?
No. It's about football.
Oh my God.
We'll go to Bobby. Bobby's in the middle of a pickup game.
You're not that far off, Jimmy.
Bobby, what was your follow-up? What was your follow-up to Joe Mazzulla after he said Luke was in the 9?
Look at that smile. Damn, Bobby.
I thought you were talking about. I thought you were talking about me opening the presser with a Luke question, which is what I did.
Oh yeah. You said what happened to Luke? Is he okay? Is he okay?
I did that too. Yeah.
I don't know. Joe didn't know, and Luke wasn't in the locker room after the game, and he wasn't on the bench. So I don't know what happened there. Ahmed and Rich, who we had at the game tonight, said he warmed up. He was out in the court pregame, so he was in the building, but he left shortly before tip-off. They scratched him right after tip-off, and as I texted you guys, I was like, why is Cade in street clothes? Like, it doesn't make sense. And then Kornet's on. It's like, whoa, they only have 2 centers. So here comes, and I went crazy and press row, Lamar Stevens. I've been waiting for so long. I know Sherrod has been. Josue and I have talked about it. We've talked about it here on the show. Where's he been? He hasn't even gotten a minute. And rough first half, 3 quick fouls, defensive 3 seconds, and he's out of there. But some nice activity in that second half, and he played center, as I said in the training camp that he was working on. So that's some real versatility if they want to go to some small ball looks. Now, he did miss a couple threes bad, which is, I think, what we anticipated might have been the issue for him, among many other things. But overall, I thought he gave them some good stuff, considering that he hasn't played all year. So this was a good game for him. And overall, the team, I thought, looked great offensively, moving the ball at a high level with multiple passes. I feel like that's something we haven't seen this year. And surprisingly, it didn't really show out on the stat sheet.
It didn't on the assist with the assist. It was just surprising because
I don't know why that happened, but bunch of offensive rebounds, timely ones too. Guys grabbing their own misses as the Cavs rallied throughout. And that was the story of this game, was them holding off what was a pretty furious Cavs rally throughout. They never really stopped playing up until the last minute or two here. So good execution here. Bunch of free throws again, so that carried over from last game. Overall, I really like this win. This team's starting to hit its stride, and they're making it look easy. This is a good Cavs team they played tonight, and they just kind of rolled over them.
And it's still you can look at this game, and like Tatum said it after the game, it's I don't even think we're close to our best. And you might even be able to I think there's still another level or two that they can hit.
Definitely. I mean, I didn't think Porzingis was at his best tonight. He missed a lot of threes.
Not in the second half.
He looked a little hobbled out there too. I know he was on the injury report, so we'll see what happens with him tomorrow. Jason had a weird game. I'm sure you guys talked about that. He definitely wasn't at his best, but again, timely makes from him, turning up for some dunks late. I think he had a couple of threes in some timely spots.
12 in the fourth quarter, just kind of took it over in that little spell there.
Blew by LeVert a couple of times, and a casual 27, 11, and 3 from him with 3 blocks. I loved his defense in this game. So it wasn't a bad game from him by any means. Brown was fantastic. I mean, I wrote about Brown this morning on the site. After all our worries about him, and some of them still remain, he looks awesome. He knows what he needs to do night in, night out. I thought he moved fantastically through this game. He was great on Tuesday too, cutting and just finding some open holes. He had 2 shots late at the basket that he missed too, so he could have had an even better night. He's fitting in great right now. I feel like playing in control, making some smart passes. We talked about the potential assists. I was looking at the hockey assists, or like kind of the plays that he starts tonight. Doesn't really get it credit for, but that early white 3, there were a couple plays throughout the game that he drove to the rim, kicked out, pass, and they had a 3 or another open look. So that's something I feel like they've been missing all year, John, is some of those longer passing sequences where you just get this great wide open shot at the end of it. And they had a bunch of those in this one.
Yep. We talked about Jalen at the beginning. I thought this was another awesome game from him for a lot of the reasons that you said there. But again, even that's just that. 2 things that kind of stand out with Brown. I mean, in addition to all of that stuff in the decision making, is that the tough shot making for these guys is still at such an elite level for Brown and for Tatum. And it's just like, that's just the stuff that kind of separates you above all else. Like, we're going to be critical of these guys because the expectations are so high, because you want them to do the right thing when they have the ball in their hands all the time. But just push comes to shove, just things that these guys do that a lot of other guys just don't do is just hit tough shots. And like, he hit 3, 4, 5 tough shots tonight that he made look extremely easy.
Yep.
With those fadeaways. It's just, and then Tatum did as well too. And when you do that, it's just it's so demoralizing for the other team. I mean, Mitchell's doing that stuff too. I mean, there's guys who can do that in this league, but you've got 2 of them.
Yeah,
for sure.
And they're spending more time playing downhill, not settling for jump shots. Jalen is good for 1 bad transition 3 ball every game. He took one in the first, I think it was first quarter, first half, where he just raised up, and there are 3 Cavalier defenders back there, no one around the basketball on Boston's part. But the flip side of that is he made a number of finishes at the rim that were really tough shots that they, gave them, extended their lead when they needed it. So Jalen was really good, man. I mean, this was not one for the time capsule good, but this was a really good game for him, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I just like the comfort in his role right now. You don't have the grumbling that there was last year, right? At times, like, oh, I'm sacrificing really tough. He seems to know what he needs to do on this roster, and is pretty confident in that role. Aggressive, but also smart in the decisions he's making right now. There's been much fewer, John, I feel like, bad dribbles, lost, jumping up and throwing the ball away.
That's what we're saying. Those are cut way down. The dribble head down into traffic, spinning into defenders.
His game's very condensed. Yeah.
You haven't seen that at all. In the beginning of the year, I think he was fighting it a little bit in terms of shot selection. Like, I got to get mine. And he was just kind of deciding, I'm just going to shoot here, and the best shot that he could get is the one that he would get. So he wasn't fitting, I'd say, for the first 10, 12 or however many games. Totally different. I think I'm not sure how long the stretch has been, but it's almost kind of like a 50-50 sort of split in terms of that comfort that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a super encouraging sign, because on the list of things that I had questions about with this team, probably go number 1, Porzingis' health. Number 2 is how Jalen fits in. And more often than not, and I tweeted this during the game, I feel like he's been awesome this year, especially just considering all the different factors that are working against him here with new guys and, Tatum being kind of the center of the offense and everything else. And handling a lot of criticism too, right? And that's the important thing to me. I got the sense, talking to him this week and, talking to his position coach, Tony Dobbins, it doesn't seem like that stuff's getting to him. And it's a lot, right? The Game 7, the left hand, the ESPN post from the other day.
The contract. Don't forget about the contract.
Everybody's saying, how's this guy the most highest paid in the league? So, like, the sentiment against him is just, even from Celtics fans, has gone the other way. And he's handled that well. It doesn't seem to be impacting him. Seems like he's doing a good job tuning it out. And this is what I stress to you, John. Like, all the criticism you make of him's fair, like most of the time. But he works. Like I see, he works through the issues that he has. Like I see him day in and day out, like getting extra reps on the court, going through the progressions. He's not out there jacking up threes. He's out there doing reads, like working on his screening, like figuring out like where to be, where to pass. So I've been impressed by him, and that's super encouraging. Like this week has made me a lot more confident in this team. Not that I ever thought they were going to crash or burn, but you did wonder, like, is this a championship team? Like, is this like a by and far favorite in this league? And it didn't feel like it early. It's starting to look like that a little bit more now. And maybe the schedule's softening up. Maybe this Cleveland team's not as good as we think they are. But you only can play who you're up against. And this is obviously a tough matchup coming up in Orlando that they've had a bunch of issues with. So if they can roll through that series, I think you feel even better.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Bobby.
What do you think of Lamar?
Jimmy wanted to say facts, my dog, but he would have been outed because he didn't hear a friggin' thing you said.
Exactly.
No, I was paying attention the whole time. Bobby was telling us how he sees Jaylen Brown work a lot on his game.
He's just reading the chat.
John, tonight
shooting threes. No, I'm not reading the chat.
I was so excited about Lamar tonight, and I don't usually have the press box like cheering moments, but when he dunked, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, don't say that out loud.
I'm excited for those kind of guys,
Go back and delete that, Ahmed, from the from the official record.
We'll see what happens here. Like, can he carry this? Can he carry this forward into something? Obviously, Joe seemed to, say that there's some momentum.
No, the only reason he played is because someone didn't tell Joe that he was that Luke was hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, shit.
Go ahead, Lamar. You got it.
In comes Lamar.
Wait, what was Kata doing in street clothes? Just inactive?
He's inactive.
Just chilling.
Couldn't he have put clothes on?
I asked that, and I don't think he could.
No?
And I asked you guys in the chat, like, who did they need in front of them?
Once you put the suit on, you can't take it off?
I can't remember
Sherrod
what the
would know
time
better
is.
than me.
I can't remember the time, but there's a certain time before the game where you have to have your active and inactive rosters already set.
Yeah.
You can't have an injured guy like throw on a jersey and run out like Pierce.
Right.
When you're down 20 in the second half. But
so we're going to be looking at a back-to-back with Orlando that you're going to be sitting most likely Al, so you're not going to have your full lineup, right? Unless you sit Porzingis. What do you do here if Porzingis is still a little hobbled with that calf?
I think you might see a big Kata and Stevens game, right? Because you're not going to push Porzingis now just because Al has to sit. So you could potentially see both those guys out in this game here.
Does Al definitely have to sit, or are we assuming that he's going to sit?
I don't think he's played a back-to-back in
He hasn't played a back-to-back in 2 years.
I know he hasn't, but there's a first time for everything.
What's the answer to this, Bobby? It's like 40-something games that he can play on a two-way, but then they can also elevate him to the active roster later in the year and pay a smaller
they have an open
bump.
roster spot, so that's not a
they
problem.
They still have that open spot. But
and he can't play in the playoffs now either. But it's about half the season.
It's 40-something. But they do have that spot. They could eventually promote him to full-time service, but they'll take a hit, right? They take a
minimum hit.
He doesn't have a big enough role for them to do that. Something would have to happen,
right.
But you don't want to. So the good thing is when a two-way guy goes to free agency, he's restricted. But you can't play him in the playoffs if you need him if he's on the two-way. So I think they'll elevate him if he becomes part of the rotation.
I mean, it's going to be what? I mean, you're playing 8 guys in the playoffs, you know. Ahmed's telling you that Jalen's talking now. If you wanted to pop over,
I'll hang around.
You're already here.
Okay.
Talked to Jalen earlier in the week.
Okay, that's once is enough.
Maybe
it's like us. It's like us. We talked about him once.
Yeah. What's he gonna say?
I wrote about him this morning.
You got all your words in.
I mentioned him early enough.
Is Josue there?
Josue's in there. Josue will talk to him.
Oh, good.
Find out about how many potential assists, how he feels about potential assists.
Yeah.
Joe was just out here playing a little pickup.
Yeah?
Some guys.
Was he aggressive?
I didn't get a good look at it. I was kind of
was that him out here?
Yeah.
He was a little, I mean, the one, okay.
He's a little feller. That little guy, he's adorable. Oh.
He's similar.
That's
I
great.
don't know what's going on with the with whatever, he hasn't been playing the staff pickup games that we've seen, at least in the practices and all of that. So I don't know if he kind of scaled back on that after last year. I've had to scale back too, going into some physical therapy for my knee, Jimmy. I'm out
Really?
like 6 weeks.
How'd you do that?
6
Playing?
weeks.
Running. Yeah,
Running. You like specifically did something, or it was just wear and tear?
wear and tear.
Uh-oh. You gotta get new sneakers. You check the treads on those sneaks.
That might be it. We're just overdoing it. I don't know.
I'll say the Newton girls 6th grade Sparks, by the way, 2-0.
Oh, thank you for
just
saying it.
Basketball?
Who's their coach?
Headed into
No way.
Are you the coach?
Headed in-
Oh, those poor girls.
You see that setup there? That's called an assist, Jalen.
Oh,
headed into
You calling a lot of timeouts?
a game this weekend. Yeah.
What's-
No
what-
timeouts.
You got like
Game
for
this
press.
weekend against the undefeated Mercury, run by the guy who runs the league,
Oh,
and
boy.
might have stacked his team a little bit. I'm just
Think they
saying.
did? How does it work? You guys have a draft, or you just get assigned a group of girls or guys, whatever?
In this league, it's just this is just fun. They try to balance.
No,
them.
that's not the attitude. We want to win.
Yeah,
Winning is
Yeah.
fun. Winning is fun, John.
Yeah.
yeah.
Bobby, what's up with this other guy the Celtics signed? Somebody asked in the chat too.
So Joe talked about him a little bit pregame, comparing him to Hauser in terms of the role. Put up some really good numbers in the Heat's.
Drew Peterson.
Yeah, so the Heat liked him, but didn't have a two-way spot for him. So you can go and sign anyone's G League players, and that's what they did here. Didn't feel like Nathan Knight was at a position where they needed, a 4 more than a 5. So he ends up out of there, and they bring in another shooter who was shooting 50, 40, close to 90 at the free throw line with the Heat's G League team. A little older. He's 24, I think. Played 5 years in college, but he's 6'9", 200
Dinosaur.
pounds, taller shooter. So similar to the Hauser mold, and they did a good job developing Hauser. So maybe they feel like they can do it again, especially since, with this roster, if Hauser keeps shooting 45% every year from 3, he's probably going to be a little too expensive for them to keep in a couple of years. So
Yep.
you're always looking for that talent. And, we've talked about this, John. Like, you got to start to look for some of those guys that you can develop or draft or bring up for the bench, because bringing we'll get to trade deadline time here, and I'm sure people have a million ideas, but I just don't see this team adding much this year. Like, what you have is what you have with these big contracts in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them taking a swing at someone who gets bought out, and just get them at
Well, you're out of the buyout market with the
Jack Jones with a pick 6. Oh
Really?
my God,
That's perfect.
it's 63-7. I swear to God.
damn.
He jumped this route. It was
Jack Jones. So wait, Jacoby Myers threw a touchdown, and Jack
Hope
Jones.
Ahmet doesn't
did a
have
pick
any
six.
Raiders.
Oh my God.
Patriots keep taking.
He
out.
literally came flying through the line, reading the pass. It was just a little out to the kind of flanker. I think it might have been a flanker screen. He read it so clearly. No, it was a screen to Eckler, who kind of flashed out wide. He read it so clearly. He literally almost overran the pass. My God, 63-7.
Yikes! That's
Anyway,
you're gonna get to 70.
yes.
I'm gonna text my buddy right now, who actually is a Chargers fan somehow. Believe it or not.
Oh my goodness gracious. Other thoughts on this game? I thought we talked about it briefly, Bobby. A good bounce back. Not bounce back. Holiday last couple of games has looked a little bit more himself, closer to early season Holiday, just making impacts both ends of the court. Seems to be moving better. Whatever was, whatever might have been bothering him, it doesn't look like it's necessarily bothering him at all. Porzingis, I'm concerned about. I hate seeing that. I hate seeing those soft tissue things kind of pop up again.
He didn't look like he was moving well, did he?
He didn't in the second half at all. He didn't.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So I don't love that.
I don't like that.
You don't think so, Sherrod?
No, I didn't like that at all. And the thing about Porzingis is you can get by for a game or two here and there without him, clearly. But we've seen what happens when a game or two becomes 4 or 5. And his absence has a domino effect on everyone on this team. He's become that integral to what they're about that quickly. And it's, and you want this guy to be out there because that's your best team, and you want to be able to put together your best squad night in, night out, and not having him around. It's tough. It's tough to be great when you're not at full complement of players.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But it's been the story of his career, though.
Yeah,
I feel like they have enough.
There's some. I'm not gonna saying most important is hyperbole. He's not, but everything is different when he's out there. It's a completely different, for everybody. You're 100% right.
Yeah, that's playoff time though. You need him ready for the playoffs. If he has
exactly, get your injuries out of the way now. This doesn't matter. January, February, March, totally fine.
I felt like they took their time with the last one too, and you have Horford playing well, of course. He can step right in there, take your pick off the bench, depending on what you need matchup-wise. We'd love to see more Cada alongside. I don't know how long Luke's going to miss here too, but you have some options now in that front court that you can go to here if you need some missed time, and maybe even mix in Stevens now at the 5 spot, which I think is a little bit of a enticing possibility. So they don't have to force any of these guys through bumps and bruises, and they shouldn't. Like, this isn't about going all out for the 1 seed this year. I think if they're healthy, if they're the 2 seed, if they're the 3 seed, you can play through the playoffs like you did last year. In fact, Joe talked about it early in the year. They might have been that team round 1 that got upset by the Heat if they got the 1 seed. I know we were frustrated. I was frustrated that they didn't go and get that, but in some way it was a blessing in disguise that this team goes down round 1 last year. Think of a lot of changes already happened. Who knows what would have happened beyond that? Maybe Joe's gone. So this is about the playoffs.
Yeah.
Regular season, they can survive. I think they can win without Porzingis and Al tomorrow too. Like, I'd have some confidence that they could go out there and compete.
Yeah. I mean, I think Lamar. I think, like I said, I think he's a better fit against Orlando because of Orlando's length and the fact that Orlando leans more on their wings than, let's say, Cleveland, for example. So Lamar seems like a more natural end of the rotation guy to throw out there if Luke can't go. And even if Luke can go, I'm not sure how much Luke's going to give you against a team like Orlando. So
Sherrod always throwing shade.
I can't help it, man. Can't help it. My guy got some minutes tonight, Lamar. So I'm feeling myself.
We're going to rest up. We got a back-to-back, so we'll be back tomorrow with more, a lot more stuff and a fun game, with Orlando, who Celtics owe a little something to.
For us too.
Yeah, so exactly.
All right,
so we got to rest up.
Grab Tatum. I'll see you guys.
Wait,
See
Bobby.
you later.
I wanted Bobby's take.
Let him go. Let him
real
go.
Quick.
I wanted your take on Giannis last night.
Crazy, uncalled for. We did ask Holiday about it. He said he didn't see it.
Lies.
Good answer. Good answer.
Lies. All right, thanks, Bobby. Go get Tatum.
What a weird tantrum by him, but yeah.
Can we talk about this for a minute? Or are we out of here?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jimmy. You got it. The floor is yours.
I mean, what's going on with athletes? What's going on with these superstar athletes this week? First, it was Mahomes, which I thought was the most embarrassing display from a superstar athlete that I've seen. I can't even remember the last time I've been embarrassed so much for an athlete than it was for Mahomes. And now we get Giannis running around like a crazy person after the game because he's looking for his Whittle basketball because what? He took 32 free throws. So what? He wants to celebrate that and put that ball on the mantle because he took 32 free throws last night. So I can't figure out why he got so upset. But I will say this. This is why I ended up liking the in-season tournament, because there's some bad blood between those two teams, I think, that might stem back from the in-season tournament game a little bit. So I think that's the beauty of the tournament is, okay, we'll see you later. And then when you see them later, there's some bad blood there. There's still something that's maybe hanging over, and maybe that contributed to it. Now, did the Pacers purposely steal the ball from Giannis? Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. They're saying that they had their guy hit his first career field goal that night from like Congo, which is a cool moment for him, I'm sure. But come to find out, that wasn't the player's first points. He did hit a free throw in a previous game, so he's gotten playing time and he has scored before. So, anyways, I just thought Giannis took away over the top. Even worse than Giannis was his brother, Thanasis, who there's nothing worse than a fake tough guy. And maybe Thanasis is actually crazy. He actually
He's built like a friggin'
he's built like an
yeah.
attack dog. He's on the bench. They're holding him back like with.
He's like Simi Ojale light.
But he's not.
He got held back by like a thread.
He wasn't really interested in fighting until he started to get held back. And trust me, I know that move well. I've also done it. But when you do it, you know it, and you can just watch that. So Giannis gets fouled. It wasn't that hard by our good friend Neesmith, and Thanasis, I hope I'm saying his name right, is on the sidelines like he's about to like jump Neesmith. It's like, dude, just sit in your bed in your chair. You just pray every night. Just be happy that you're in the league because you have no business being in the league. Stop making a scene for no reason and escalating things. You should just be like hiding and just hope that the Bucks forget that you're on their team. That's my take on him. But I just thought Giannis in general, that was kind of an embarrassing, weird little thing from him after the game. He's kind of like a kid. He's kind of like a child out there.
It was weird. He has his temper tantrum moments, like with the free throws and he, shit and stuff like that. And he's just, that was a strange one. I think he just got worked up. I don't know what it was.
I think it stems back. I think it does. I think the in-season tournament has to give people some bad blood.
But that's that's a check mark in the plus column for the in-season tournament.
Absolutely. That's why I said this is one of the reasons why I like it. I came around on it.
Well, Rick Carlisle talked about that after just saying that, we've seen this team, a number of times in a short period of time. So tempers are going to absolutely flare. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the Pacers embarrassed the Bucks, and they knocked them out of the tournament. They prevented them from going to Vegas, and there's a little bit of animosity there. So, I mean, from a dramatic standpoint, I like it, but I think Giannis, something's up with that. I think Mahomes, like something's up with him. He apologized, but that was embarrassing too. So, superstars.
All right. We are going to wrap it. We will see you guys again tomorrow night. Thank you for hanging out with us. Celtics Magic should be a fun one. Take care.